Hey, I got a question for you. Have you ever heard this statement? In all thy getting, get an understanding. Well, that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. So do me a favor, my friend. Check it out. Hey, and welcome to Keith's Motivational Minute, where I myself, Keith Collins, get to hang out with you, the guy that's on the other side of this video. And today is really cool because I wanted to tell you, man, this week has been awesome. Just a lot of cool things. But one of the coolest things that happened to me this week, I got a chance to hang out with a gentleman who was, his name's Mr. McNair, and he's an 84-year-old gentleman. Amazing story. I'm going to allow you guys to hear it a little bit later, not today, but I'm working on having a video with him. And really cool. It's an 84-year-old gentleman that I just ran into earlier this week, and we got to talking, and he was telling me about life, and he was telling me about things that he's seen, and I just felt compelled in my heart to pray for this gentleman. And then I got a chance to pray for him. Then I was telling him about my book and everything like that, and then he asked me about my book, and then I told him, I was like, hey, I'm gonna do you one better, and as opposed to telling you about my book and how you can get it, I will personally bring you a copy to your house tomorrow. And long story short, the next day I wake up, figured out his coffee order, because I told him I'll give you a cup of coffee as well, and I'll sit down and listen to the wisdom that you have. And he said, absolutely okay, no problem. And the next day I had some stuff to do around the house, and so I get to his house a little bit late, about 45 minutes late, and so the only thing I could do is just apologize. And he was like, say no more, say less, it's already done. And I was like, whoa, okay, cool, sweet, we could do this. And so I sat down and I began to talk with him, and we talked for about an hour or so of just about life. But one of the cool things that I remember him saying, and it's actually a biblical verse, and he was saying, you know, in all thy getting, get an understanding. And he related this to people, he related this to business, he related this to your field of expertise. And I just thought it was so cool, one, because I met this gentleman one day, and the second day, you know, that he met me, we were sitting down having a cup of coffee. And it got me to thinking in so many different ways. He told me about how he used to work in Weston, and he was telling me, you know, when he was working in Weston, he would, you know, often lay concrete, and he would be out early in the morning, like 4 or 5 a.m. And during that time, you know, it was, I guess you would say, almost like not a cultural norm for a black person to be in Weston. And he went on to tell me how, you know, he would get stopped by the police often. And it was just mind-blowing to me, because currently right now we live in Weston, and I get an opportunity to run at 4 and 5 a.m. without a care in the world, even at times passing cops. And I thought about that, and I thought about how, you know, the road was paved for me to be able to run by a gentleman who I never even met. And I just think that's so important for us as young people, for us as, you know, whether you're male, female, watching this video, whatever, to be able to spend time with people who've lived twice, 2 or more times the length or the age that you are. And I think it's so important because you get a chance to get perspective. You get a chance to understand where other people come from. You get to understand, to learn a little bit more about your journey. Oftentimes when we think about history, we think about some old stuff that happened that really doesn't matter to you. But truthfully, the honest to goodness truth is that history has everything to do with both you and I. Because if we don't learn from our history, we're bound to repeat it. I think of the young man who doesn't necessarily know what his father was like. And if you don't know who your father was like, you're bound to somewhat to repeat some of the same characteristics or the same flaws that your father did, knowingly or unknowingly. If you meet my 2 boys, they are a ball of energy. And if you talk to anyone who knows me, I am a ball of energy. And that's only And my children are who they are because who their father is. Regardless if you know your father, don't know your father, that there are certain characteristics or traits that are inside of you that comes from your father. And it's crazy because I think of Jesus, and Jesus, he identified with his father. You know, no disrespect to a woman or anything like that, but the DNA, the characteristics, the makeup, all of those things stem, when you look from a genotype, when you look into the DNA, it stems from the father's DNA. And there's so much to say about that, and I think it's so important just in general for all of us to be able to spend time with people who've been down the road a little bit farther than us, to get wisdom from people who've been around a little bit longer than us. Because all of these things compile on each other, and it helps us to grow and become the best version of ourselves. And simply today, my challenge is this, man. In all thy getting, get an understanding. And you get an understanding by seeing people who experience more things than you, who live down the road further than you, and can tell you where some of the potholes and the pit stops are in your life. So take the time this week. I challenge you, take the time this week and spend time with someone. Spend time with someone who's been down the road a little bit further. Where it's a great aunt, a grandfather, a great grandfather, whoever that is, spend some time, some intentional time hanging out with them. I promise you, my friend, it's gonna make all the difference in your life. With that being said, thank you so much for hanging out with me on this video. Do me a favor, like this video, share this video, subscribe to this video. Don't forget my YouTube channel. That's @Keith Collins. @Keith Collins on YouTube. And man, thank you. And hope you have a fantastic, fantastic week. And I'll see you on the next video.